Macy's has all of your Grill Master essentials for Father's Day. Stop by to get our hand-trimmed chicken breast and certified Angus beef patties that are ready to grill, so Dad can have his favorite dinner. Make sure to browse our bakery to find the perfect no-work Father's Day treat with our decadent peanut butter bars or famous donuts. Right now, you can get boneless beef ribeye steaks for $12.99 per pound at Macy's. Shop these Father's Day essentials in-store or online at Macys.com through June 18th. Macy's, happy shopping!
Hey, it's Kim Komando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to komando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. I always like to kick things off with something fun and interesting. So let me ask you this question. Who loses more money to scams? Is that crazy old aunt or uncle who was born in 1950? Or is it your 20-year-old nephew who talks about his drip and communicates best in memes? Well, this is surprising. It's actually that 20-year-old nephew. Here's the reason why. Gen Zers spends just a ton of their time online, and they end up trusting the internet and the strangers that they talk to on it. Now, on average, Gen Zers lost $150 each to scams last year, which most of the loss is coming from fake jobs, online shopping scams, of course, all over social media, and cryptocurrency schemes. You can make a ton of money in crypto. Not so much, unless you start with a ton of money, and then you're going to lose it. Speaking of Gen Zers, I was going to tell my Gen Zer son a joke about Social Security, but he's probably not going to get it. Oh, on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And let me tell you, you are about to get more tech smarts than ever, because if you're not tech ahead, you're going to be tech left behind in the dust. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And of course, I'm streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can also get the Kim Komando Show as a podcast wherever you do get your podcasts. Just search for, again, Komando with a K, of course. Hey, great sponsors help to make this show possible. And I always negotiate a money-saving deal with them. So to see all the deals and get the exclusive links that you need, just go to one spot. That's komando.com/sponsors. Alrighty, then every single day, whether it's the holiday, it's a weekend, it's a weekday, you can count on me to scan so many different websites and talk to industry insiders to make sure that we know the most important tech news. And here are the top 5 things that are happening right now. And we're going to start with your car. In 1994, automakers first began equipping all cars and trucks with what was called a black box. We were told that it would only collect accident and engine performance data. But after 30 years, we know it's a whole different story. It was only a matter of time before car manufacturers realized that the information stored by your car's black box was super valuable. Instead of recording only accident and performance data, today's cars are equipped with EDRs, event data recorders. Let me tell you, they keep track of everything. It knows when you're speeding, hard braking, rapidly accelerating. It automatically and wirelessly reports everything to data brokers like LexisNexis. This data is turned into your driving risk score. That's then, you know where I'm going with this, huh? It's sold to your insurance company, who will then use it to sometimes raise your rates. So is this an invasion of your privacy? Yes, but it's not illegal. All right, moving on to number 2. Even though they are against the law, you can find them for sale on Amazon. I'm talking about cell phone blockers, Wi-Fi drone, radar jammers, and more. But now the FCC is moving to stop it all. You see, this is a big market for cell phone jammers. Talking about churches, movie theaters, restaurants. They would love to install them if they were legal. Radio jammers interfere with police speed radar cameras, by the way. GPS blocking devices prevent your car from being tracked. Wi-Fi jammers are just a favorite for thieves to jam up your home and business wireless security cameras. And of course, drone jammers can bring down a nearby intrusive drone. So everyone can think of it this way. They would want to use one of these devices, but federal law makes the operation, the marketing, the sale of any jamming device illegal. No exceptions for classrooms, homes, business, even law enforcement. So if you're tempted to buy one, don't do it. All right, moving on to number 3, the news. Wow. Newspapers have been on a slow train wreck for at least, 20, 25 years. Nobody was paying attention when the advice columns, the movie times, the stock reports, the weather, and everything just moved online. And the one thing that has not remained consistent is the news itself. Yes, the news business is very expensive. Just ask Jeff Bezos how his purchase of the Washington Post is doing. Vice is done out of money. The Messenger ran out of cash in less than a year. More than a quarter of all the newspapers that were in business just 10 years ago are gone. And every other news company, the New York Times, NBC, Politico, the Associated Press, they're all cutting back. So we're left with social media. And the reason why I bring this up is over half of all U.S. adults are getting their news from social media. Oh my gosh. Isn't that just disturbing? Wow. Folks, you have to know that those algorithms only feed you the news that they think that you want to see. So it may not give you the other side of the story. Moving on to number 4, speaking of news, I saw this headline. Regular use of mobile phones linked to heart attack disease risk. Let me say that again. Regular use of mobile phones linked to heart attack disease risk. Are they warning about radiation or what's going on? Okay, I did some digging. This story originates in China. It claims that heavy cell phone users are at a 10% higher risk of heart disease. Now, I'm not a researcher, I'm not a doctor, but it sounds to me like this increased risk, if there is one at all, is more related to a lack of exercise, stress, and lifestyle. I mean, just get off your butt and get off your phone. Now, the same study also found that smartphone users who smoke have an even greater cardiovascular risk, too. Well, duh. Thanks, China, but I think we have this one covered. And finally, let's talk about safety. With all the shootings in schools, I want you to think about this. When my son started first grade, I made sure that he had a cell phone, a super lockdown one, of course, but in case of emergency, all he had to do was press and hold one button, and it would send me a text. Now, of course, with today's smartphones, things are a lot different, and I recommend every family create a secret code for when someone's in trouble. Okay, an emoji works perfectly. It's discreet, it's really quick to send. Choose something memorable, like a tree, an owl, maybe a crescent moon. And make sure that location services like Find My on my iPhones and your Androids, it's always activated. Now, if you can afford a smartwatch for your kid, get one. In case of an emergency, it's going to be a lot easier for them to text you an emoji versus calling you. But don't stop there. Have a real thoughtful conversation with your kids and family about how and when to use the code. It's not just a brief chat. It's about creating a plan. This small step could give you total peace of mind and make sure that they are safe when it matters most. All right, we're going to talk about some ways you can get discounts without sharing your data, how to check for dead remote batteries using your phone. That's not your bank on the phone that may be calling. We have, of course, your great phone calls that you don't want to miss as well. And you have me, Kim Komando.
¿Listo para abandonar tu aburrida membresía de gimnasio? Prepárate para un gran verano en The Epic en Grand Prairie. El centro recreacional de primer nivel está reinventando la idea de lujo con una piscina de entrenamiento cubierta, un centro de entretenimiento, clases de yoga y senderismo, una pista de atletismo cubierta, programas culinarios, espacio rentable y mucho más. Visita The Epic en 2960 Epic Place para convertirte en miembro hoy.
Go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. That's where you can enter to win a brand new iPhone 16. Yes, you're going to love this iPhone 16. It has AI baked in. Well, not when it gets released in October, but I saw the demo. It's really amazing. Once again, to enter to win a brand new iPhone 16, no purchase required, go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. All right, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. And how about we start with Michelle in Huntsville, Alabama. Hi there, Michelle.
Thank you so much for taking my call. I've been a longtime listener, researcher, and user of your tips, so this is fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. What's going on?
So I am one of those holdout parents as far as cell phones for a child. I have a 14-year-old son who, up until a month ago, did not have a cell phone. He was phoneless.
Michelle,
Yeah.
how did you do that?
Get him that far, or why did I break down, right?
Oh, it's actually a two-parter. It is a two-parter.
Yes.
Wow, that is something. Now, did you have like parents around you who were doing the same thing, or you were just that strong?
I'm just that person.
Okay, good.
I was instilling some adversity into my child's life because you don't have to keep up with the Joneses and be just like every one of your peers. But, so about a month ago, he was potentially being selected for this cross-country travel sporting event, and he ultimately made that event.
Awesome.
So in preparation for him doing this, he was soliciting, saying, Mom, you're not going to send me across country without a phone. And you think I have a problem with that? Oh, no. I said, you're going to look left, right, forward, back, and everybody around you has a phone, and all the coaches have phones. There's access. I have ways to get you. But so that wasn't going to be a ploy for me. Truly, where my breakdown was I knowing that he was going to be the only kid without a phone, and these were peers of his age group. I didn't want him to miss out on the networking opportunity with his peers.
Well, also, you know what?
He was going to meet.
You don't want him to be that freaky kid. I have a family member who has a lot of kids. They're very Catholic. A lot of kids. I'm not going to say how many. Let's just say there's a boatload of kids. Okay, the oldest is 14, and she has to use her father's phone to text her quote unquote boyfriend. Okay, so the father sees all the text messages going back and forth, and I tried to explain to him. I said, do you remember when you went to college? There was that kid who got drunk all the time. Okay, or that girl who just she just laid down whenever she wanted to. Okay, I said, You want to instill digital health with them and guidance, and you want to make sure that she doesn't, when she gets a phone, that she's not freaking out. You got to teach her about sexting, and it's just because it's a part of life now. But I'm glad that you held out to be 14, because there's all these mental health problems too that these poor kids are having when they get, they're having body issues because they start seeing this stuff at 5 and 7 years old, which is just. I interviewed a mother. I don't know if you saw this, a mom who was 7, or she has a 7-year-old. And the 7-year-old girl is on TikTok giving makeup tips. and this little 7-year-old girl, Michelle's going like, contour, contour, contour. And I'm like, I don't even know how to contour, And anyway.
And I will say, like my son, we have a very healthy relationship with the technology. School is all on technology. Things are at their disposal. Yeah. Their computers, they all have even YouTube access and things on it. So, it's been quite cringeworthy. And that's actually another variable that came into this is if he didn't have, because what we would do is we would share my phone. Mm-hmm. And I used it as a house phone. I went back to my days and, hey, you can take it and go have your private conversation somewhere, but it's going to be, quote unquote, our house phone. And, I gave him leeway and all that with the phone, and that's how we used it.
So how's he doing with his own phone?
He seems to be doing quite well. So we're a month in, and truly when he got selected for this team, we had a half-hour turnaround time, and he was being shipped off. Once we found out his name, he was off. So there was, I tried to instill some stuff on his phone. I at least got Life 360 onto his phone so I could see his whereabouts as he traveled. But I do have on my phone, so I have a Google Pixel for my personal phone. I have an iPhone for my work. Okay. He has an iPhone. So with Verizon, I did get the Smart Family, and then I was going to use like the Google Family link, and then I've got Life 360. So I've really got a lot going on, and I don't want duplicating options, and I also don't want to be signing up for stuff and have it being nickel-dimed across the board. So I want to do it frugal but right, and give him some of that freedom. So to answer your question, he's doing really well with it. And, he knows to let me use it. He keeps it downstairs in the kitchen. When he goes to bed, it does not go in the bedroom.
You know what? You're a good mom. Boundaries. You're a good mom. You are. Because, because it's so easy to succumb to this. And because, oh, come on, Mom, just 5 more minutes, just 10 more minutes, or whatever it is.
Oh, we do get some of that. We do.
All right. It would be easier if you had an iPhone. Okay.
So I do have a work iPhone, but again, I don't want to trudge on trouble with that.
Exactly.
Too.
That's what and I know Google Pixel phones, they're great. Gal here, Allie, I don't know if you've seen her on the shows or something, but she loves her Pixel phone. She just loves it. But it would be better if you were on the same iOS, because then you have Apple IDs, and then you could go through the back door on some of those Apple IDs and get copies of text messages and see what he's doing in real time. And Apple has put together a really good parental control. They have built-in screen time. such as set limits, you can monitor activity. But if you are looking for social media tracking and text message scanning, that's where you're going to look at a third-party tool, whether you're on iOS or whatever. And that's really, if you don't like Bark for whatever reason, Qustodio might be more up your lane. And that's with a Q, Qustodio, Qustodio. Google Family Link, it's really good. It does offer cross-platform monitoring, but it doesn't really integrate with iOS as well as if you were both on iOS. It's kind of like if you have a Windows machine and he's on a Mac, and you would think like after all these years, like we could be able to get through to this. But, Apple keeps that ecosystem pretty locked down. They do.
Right.
And they don't really want you in there because they want you to stay with them. I mean, you can, and if you were on an iPhone, you could control his usage also from your own device. So you don't have to go to his phone. And with the screen time is that you can also restrict content. Like music, movies, web content. You can put how much time they're going to spend on each app. So what I would do, I don't know your kid, but he sounds like he's fabulous, which is wonderful. Is that I would get rid of the Pixel. I would, and I'd get an iPhone. I'd set up screen time and tell him what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it. And I'm going to get alerts all this time now. And if I see things that I don't want, I'm taking the phone away. Okay, and that's just the way it is. I mean, because, and I know you're going to be able to do that. You will. Do you need to go buy a brand new iPhone 16? Nah. You can buy a 12, I wouldn't go any lower than a 12, though. But what's also nice is that you're not going to need the Live 360 for the location sharing because that's built in on the iOS. So you can get rid of some of the stuff that you signed up for along the way because, again, it's all built into the iOS. And congrats on being a great mom, Michelle. Ooh, you rock. Always such great questions here on the show. Love that. All right, the FBI is warning you about tech support scams that have taken folks for a jaw-dropping $600 million in just the first half of this year. It all starts with a message from your bank or the government warning you that there has been this computer hack. Nope, it's all scammers. If you get a call from someone claiming to work for your bank, and they tell you that some hacker from a foreign country is all over your account, I just want you to just hang up. Okay? You get an unexpected email, text, pop-up warning about a breach. Take a deep breath. Before acting, verify that message with the bank or agency directly. No wire, no gift cards, no Bitcoin from ATMs ever. Hey, stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls coming up. You don't want to miss.
Macy's has all of your Grill Master essentials for Father's Day. Stop by to get our hand-trimmed chicken breast and certified Angus beef patties that are ready to grill, so Dad can have his favorite dinner. Make sure to browse our bakery to find the perfect no-work Father's Day treat with our decadent peanut butter bars or famous donuts. Right now, you can get boneless beef ribeye steaks for $12.99 per pound at Macy's. Shop these Father's Day essentials in-store or online at Macy's.com through June 18th. Macy's, happy shopping!
In just a few seconds, I'm going to talk about how you can run a free background check on yourself. Super important to do. And then later on, some ways that you can get discounts without sharing your personal data. And before we get to all of that and your phone calls, how about a fun and practical party trick you can use to totally impress your family and friends? Just using your smartphone, you can check to see if the batteries are dead in your TV, your soundbar, or streaming device's remote control. Here's how it works. First, you launch the camera app on your phone. Then, aim your remote control at the phone's camera. Here's the surprise. Press any button on the remote control and take a look at the screen. If you can see a flashing light on the camera app, it means that the remote control is working fine and the batteries are not dead. But if you cannot see any flashing lights, either the batteries are dead or the remote control is broken. All right. Something to keep in mind, remote control batteries, they usually last not too long. 3 to 6 months. All right, let's see who's up next. Lisa in San Antonio, Texas. Hi there, Lisa.
Well, I don't know. This may bring you a little bit of humor, but it started out that way, but now it's gotten pretty scary here. I started getting texts and phone calls from unknown sources.
Okay.
This started last Tuesday. and they would say available. Can you talk? And then some got worse. So I was telling some of my friends about it. We were at breakfast, and I said, I'm going to go home and Google my phone number. And sure enough, it was posted, my phone number, on a escort site, which escort is a nice term for it.
Okay, so it's that porno site.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
And
okay.
So, everything I can do, report junk, blocking the calls. And so, like I said, it started last Tuesday night. Over the weekend, it was terrible. And then last couple of days, it stopped. So I'm thinking, is this just going to be a weekend thing? But my question is, how can I remove that information from Google, even though I've gone in there and asked them to remove it, and it doesn't meet their criteria or whatever? It has my phone number.
Well, they should be removing that now because they have new ways. They're supposed to be removing that information now.
Okay. Where?
But let me tell you, here's what my concern is.
Okay.
Is that, you can go to this website and you can ask them to take the number down. Have you done that?
No, because when I've gone on there, I don't see any it's kind of like it says independent.
All right. Well, here's how you find out who owns a website.
Okay.
You go to a website, whois.net. Again, that's whois.net. And you can type in any website. Hopefully they don't have their listing hidden. And you can find a contact email address and phone number.
Okay.
But because it's a porno site, it's not going to be a reputable business. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if it was at a news organization. But even if you were to get it down, even if Google takes it down, my problem is that somebody has a copy of your phone number, and it's like you can block every number. You can set up different filters, silence unknown callers, and all that other stuff. Which
I do that,
and that sounds really great until you get a call from your doctor and they can't get through because they're unknown. So there's pros and cons to everything. What I would do is I would call my cellular provider, tell them this is what happened to my phone number. I need to change it.
Oh, gosh, I hate to do that.
I know you hate to do that. I know you hate that.
I know.
And I would hate to do it too because you get your phone number tied to just about everything in our lives.
Yes.
But once it's out there, it's kind of like people that call me and they say, oh, all of a sudden I'm getting a lot of spam.
Mm-hmm.
I try to block it all, but it still keeps coming.
Okay. Exactly.
All right. You know what? Once you're on the list, it's like the Hotel California. You can check in, but you ain't never going to leave, right?
Well, I wondered this about, what started is I called my security company last Tuesday because I keep getting some kind of alert from them that my panel battery is low. And when they said they'd transfer me, something didn't sound right. And I should have just hung up and ended up punching in, yes, I'll, call me back. And then when they called me back, I couldn't understand the guy, so I asked him to call me again. Never happened. So
you got taken on that. Transfer. All right. So you called the wrong number. What happened?
Probably.
So because that's how they get you, especially if you Google like tech support phone number, whatever it is. All those phone numbers are bad. Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty maybe tech savvy and not doing that, and I even check my call log, and it shows my security company in my call log.
Well, then I would reach out to them too.
Back,
I would reach out to them and speak to a manager. Tell them what happened. I want you to just bypass a rep, but speak to them. I wish I could. I mean, I would definitely go back and try to fill out that Google form. I definitely would do that because they this is recent. They came out and they said, if your personal identifiable information is on the internet and you want it off, we're going to take it off. And that includes your name, your home address, your email address, and your phone number. So they should take that down for you. But even if they take it down, I'm just afraid that, you know what, you're just going to be like whack-a-mole. As soon as you get rid of one, another one's going to pop up. Because once you're on those type of sites, like I said, they're just not reputable. I wish I had better news for you, Lisa, but thank you for your call. All right, everyone wants to know what you've been up to. Your boss, a date, somebody from high school. Your online business does not have to be everyone's business. So how can you check what the internet really knows about you? First, of course, you're going to go to Google and you're going to type in your first and last name in quotes and see what pops up. People are usually interested in the organizations that you're affiliated with, your social profiles, any photos of you that might be floating around the web. Next up, your credit score. You can get a free credit report from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion once a year. Many credit cards and identity theft services offer free credit scores as well. And have you heard about those websites that will help you build a family tree? Yeah, they can be fun and super informative, but for you and for anyone who might be looking you up, it could be a complete privacy nightmare. So here's what I want you to do. Go to familytreenow.com. Once again, that's familytreenow.com. And I bet you're going to be shocked at everything that is there about you. Afterwards, you can opt out so that your info is erased for good. We've got the steps over at komando.com. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls that you don't ever want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show.
¿Listo para abandonar tu aburrida membresía de gimnasio? Prepárate para un gran verano en The Epic en Grand Prairie. El centro recreacional de primer nivel está reinventando la idea de lujo con una piscina de entrenamiento cubierta, un centro de entretenimiento, clases de yoga y senderismo, una pista de atletismo cubierta, programas culinarios, espacio rentable y mucho más. Visita The Epic en 2960 Epic Place para convertirte en miembro hoy.
Let's see, Jean in Topeka, Kansas. Hi there, Jean.
Thank you so much for taking the call, and I'm excited to have discovered recently that you have podcasts available.
Awesome.
Kim, my question to you is this. For like 20-some years now, I have been putting out a family calendar. Every year I have about 65 that I make.
Okay.
And my program that I'm using is an old calendar program that I started 20-some years ago. And in itself, I worry that it might quit working. And more than that, it's an old 16-bit program. So I've only been able to take it as far as a 32-bit computer. And I worry that that old computer might crash on me.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping what's so unique about that program, Kim, is that not only does it roll over the names and dates or to the proper dates every year, it also updates and rolls over numbers.
Well, that's pretty handy.
And I have not been able to find any calendar program that will do that anymore.
Yeah, that's, you know what, that's interesting. That's interesting. You know, you could keep it going by using a virtual machine like VirtualBox or Hyper-V. You could set that up. But I really think that we need to get you into today's age where it's not just a printed calendar, but where it's an online calendar, where your 64 people that you all collaborate on this family calendar with, that they can also contribute their own dates. And they might be able, then they can also color code their families so they can see just their families, other families, whatever it may be. And so it becomes like a living, breathing calendar instead of this thing that's stuck, 20 years ago. I mean, what were you doing 20 years ago?
It's certainly different than what I am doing now.
Exactly. Because like, for example, if you were to use Google Calendar, you could probably write some type of script that would keep track of all the dates, but it would integrate with Google Contacts. And so in this calendar, you'd have everybody's birthdays, and then you'd also have their name, their email address. And so if somebody wanted to actually reach out and just, drop them an email or text or whatever, that they could actually do that on their birthday as well. There's also a program called Cozy, COZI. And this is really set up as a family organizer, but I know that it has a pretty robust calendar system. And so I'm not sure if that's something that you might want to look at as well. And I know you're saying you print these out, but you could always just use like a place like Shutterfly or MPix or even Google Photos where you can make a calendar and then just mail it out to everybody. Because I know, a lot of people like these paper calendars. They do. I mean, and they're nice to look at, especially if you have photo of the month. It's kind of nice to see. Mm-hmm. But I also want to encourage you to get it into today's times, because with today's times, that's going to allow you to reach a new audience. The people who don't want the physical calendar. I'm thinking of like the 20-somethings in the family, right? The 30-somethings, the millennials that are having kids. And so they could be part of this and they can put their kids in there. And then they could have that could be tied to a Google Photos album. So every time, little Johnny gets a new trophy or whatever it may be, is that's also tied to the family unit. And I like using Google because so many people have Google accounts, So take a look at Google Calendar, take a look at Cozy, but there's going to come a time where you're just going to have to give it up. And let me do some thinking to see if I can find a calendar program that will actually keep track of the age of that person along the way. And if I find anything, I'll put it inside of our free newsletter, that if you're not already getting our newsletter, you can sign up right now over at getkim.com. I tried installing a calendar app, but I accidentally installed a colander. That's right. It keeps draining my battery. Yeah, that was bad. Dan in Plymouth, Wisconsin. Hi there, Dan.
Hello, Kim. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate what you're doing on the radio.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. How can I lend a hand?
So I'm wondering, in Google Maps, if you put a location in, Google usually gives you 3 choices on different routes to get to the location. And I'm wondering if there's an app that you could actually put the routes that you wanted to travel and it would follow those directions.
Sure. What do you do for a living?
I'm in transportation.
So you are a truck driver, over the road driver? Is that it?
Yes, actually, it's specialized. We do a lot of oversized loads where each state you have to apply for the permits, and then they give you specific roads that you have to follow.
Oh, those are so cool. I was, this is probably a couple of years ago, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and they had the 51 freeway shut down outside of Phoenix, right inside Phoenix, rather, between Phoenix and Scottsdale. And they were transporting this 1929 GM Future bus. And I was like, it was astounding how they just shut down the whole freeway, and this guy's going right in the center with this massive, oversized load. So that's what you do?
Yes, not quite that big. That's really specialized, yes. When they're shutting down freeways because of the weight restrictions, yeah, that's really specialized. Not quite that big.
All right. Well, here's the deal, is that you're not going to be able to find this in Google Maps, as you know. There's a couple of programs that you can check out. One's called, and we'll send you links to these so you can see which one actually will work the best for you. There's Truck GPS Navigation, and that gives you clearance, local facility directions, weight restrictions, all that other good stuff, and allows you to actually say, this is the route that I want to be on. The same thing is another app called Truck Map, and there's another one called OptimaRoute, and that's $35 a month. So you might want to, maybe that might be out of the price budget, but there's definitely apps that are made just for your occupation. Again, there's called Truck GPS Navigation, Truck Map, and then another one called OptimaRoute. And hang on the line, Dan, because we'll send you links to all these so you can check them out. And thank you for your call. Hey, if you ever have a question for me and you're like, I don't know if I could come on a big-time radio show or podcast, Kim Komando, but I still need your help. Okay, here's what I need you to do. I know that you like to leave me your questions with comments all over social media. You like to DM me all over social media. But the very best way for you to give me your question and what you want to know more about is by heading to the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show, which, by the way, if you haven't been there in a while, it's totally revamped. It's totally new. It doesn't stink anymore. That's right. I know it was bad, but it's not that way. KOMANDO, Komando.com. And there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. And I read every single note that you send me there. Again, the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show is, of course, Komando.com with a K. And then at the top, you want to hit that link that says Ask Kim. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure that you enter to win the brand new iPhone 16 right now. I need you to go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. No purchase required, of course. Winfromkim.com. All right, many grocery stores are ditching physical loyalty cards for their apps. But what if you don't want to download an unfamiliar app? Unfortunately, you could be missing out because if you don't participate in these loyalty programs, you're going to pay as much as 3 times more for a single item. And of course, that can all add up. So if you want discounts without a digital footprint, here's what you can do. Look for stores that do not require loyalty programs for discounts. What about Trader Joe's or Walmart or Target? Everyone just gets a low price. Next, look for physical coupons. Most grocery stores have a coupon section on their website for you to print, snip, and hand in. And finally, ask for the discount anyway. Behind the counter, cashiers usually have a code to charge the digital price. Hey, don't forget to enter to win at winfromkim.com.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.
Macy's has all of your Grill Master essentials for Father's Day. Stop by to get our hand-trimmed chicken breast and certified Angus beef patties that are ready to grill, so Dad can have his favorite dinner. Make sure to browse our bakery to find the perfect no-work Father's Day treat with our decadent peanut butter bars or famous donuts. Right now, you can get boneless beef ribeye steaks for $12.99 per pound at Macy's. Shop these Father's Day essentials in-store or online at Macys.com through June 18th. Macy's, happy shopping!